Welcome to Unity, especially if you're here for the first time. We are right in the middle of what was introduced to you earlier, the chakra series, right in the middle. So what are the chakras? The chakras are energy centers within your energetic body that keep your energy flowing, keep it cleaned out. It's kind of like the physical spine is to your physical body. The chakras are the energetic spine to your energetic body. That's the most simplest way to describe it. And when your physical body gets out of alignment and gets a little cranky, you often, or many of you, I have many times gone to a chiropractor because they help align the spine. And the philosophy, forgive me chiropractors if I'm butchering this, but I think I'm close. The alignment of the spine is the place to, if you get that lined up, things start flowing, things start healing, things start working for you by just adjusting that physical spine and getting it back in place. That's same for you with your emotional body and your operating in the spiritual realms, all lining up inside of the chakras. So if you're feeling emotionally out of balance or you're feeling stuck in certain areas of yourself, many people, and a great thing to do is to explore going into the chakra and using it and letting it help you get back into balance, release whatever has gotten stuck inside of you. It's a really, really beautiful, powerful thing to do. We've been having fun wearing the color of the chakra each Sunday, but I tell you, it really can be a fun practice to go, where do I feel stuck? And then wear that color that day. You can really use color to help you along. But let's look at them because we're on the heart chakra. But we started in the bottom with the red one. That is the root chakra. And that is our tribal family stuff. Anyone got family stuff? Anyone? Just me? Okay. Great place to focus, because the thing about this chakra and my understanding of an experience of it is that your family tribal agreements can get stuck in there. So women can't do this, men must do this, this is unacceptable, this is okay, don't go out of these boundaries because it's unsafe. All of those tribal agreements, they can live strongly inside of you. This is a great place to become free and focus on the healing power of the red light. Move up to the second chakra, which is orange, and that is the sacral chakra, and that is the chakra of passion, of creation, of abundance. So if you're having issues around money or finding purpose or not feeling any passion in your life, this is a great place to meditate and just open up the orange light and let it help you. Move up. Last week we talked about the third chakra, which is yellow, the solar plexus chakra. And this one, when it gets stuck, you're kind of in trouble because you become controlling. You sort of become my way or the highway. You become unable to trust and let go. So the healthy flow of this chakra is, as we talked about last week, thy will be done. It's a deepening in your faith, that knowing that there is a power here for you, and it is good, and it is guiding you. One of my favorite teachers at this time is Abraham Hicks. Perhaps some of you have heard of Abraham. And I listen to Abraham every single day, just on YouTube. You can go and listen to any old video that's up there. They're all absolutely brilliant. And one of the things I was listening to yesterday, they were talking about the idea that every day, go out and look up into the horizon and just know and acknowledge that there is an amazing universe that is always flowing directly to you and for you. To begin trusting that this universe will support you and guide you, and you can let go. So if anyone, and you don't have to raise your hand on this one, if you have any control issues, this is a great place to focus. Your family will thank me. And now we move up into the heart chakra. I love this one too, but I love all of them because when this is opened, as we experimented with in the opening meditation, you're going to begin experiencing the flow of compassion. What I love about the heart chakra, or that I imagine and entertain within myself, is it's first and foremost for me. It's first for you. The first release of compassion and acceptance and allowance flows right from your heart for you. And when you begin to allow this to open up, you can experience profound breakthroughs. Absolutely beautiful. Its color is green, as we know. The heart is the way home. But when I say the heart is the way home, I mean the way home to your spiritual connection, to yourself. This is when I say home. That's what I mean. The connection to your divine, your experience of being, whatever that is. It's when you're holistic, wholly connected within yourself, you are at home. This is a wonderful chakra that guides us here. There's a few misunderstandings about the heart. First belief that happens in this world is that it can be broken. Anyone ever heard of this thing called a broken heart? We've all used those words to describe what we were moving through. Hallmark makes amazing movies about broken hearts. Hallmark is playing their Christmas movies this month. Mark is watching them. It's fascinating. I will not go further than that. I will just say there's someone in a garage just writing the same thing over, changing the names, changing the location. And instead of a pizza parlor, we'll make it a flower shop. Make a movie. The heart is not the problem, actually. I think the heart is actually a very profound healing energy center. And sure, it can get stopped up. We can use that. But it's actually, where it can get stopped up first is in what you're thinking about it. You see, when we feel hurt, when we feel something that wants to move through us, I don't believe it gets stopped here. I believe it gets stopped here because you're using your mind to understand it. If you're trying to understand a pain, if you're trying to understand why somebody did that. Did you ever ask somebody that? Why did you do that? Do you know that's an attack question? Please hear this. If you take anything away today, when you ask someone, why did you do that? That is an attack question. It's an unfair question, and it's a disempowering question, which is why it's an attack question. If it disempowers them instead of empowers them, and they're wobbling and they're off their feet, that's an unfair move. It's a good move if you want to win the ego fight. If you want to play jujitsu with them and win, then ask the question. It's just a difficult question to answer because, truthfully, we're too complex to understand. Why do you keep leaving the salt on the table? I don't know, because my dad did it and then my mom did it. And I don't know. It's a habit. I don't know. Do you see why do you keep doing that? Doesn't move us anywhere. You walk away being right, they walk away being hurt, or you both walk away in some kind of crazy energy. But do you know what the harder thing to do is? To just say, would you please try to not keep leaving the salt there? Just asking for what you want. Oh, my God. That's so unfair, isn't it? It's so unfair that life says you need to ask directly for what you want. Really, it would be easier if they would just read your mind and make it easy and just do it. This is not spiritual growth. And so we take all these hurts and all this misunderstanding, and it can get so thick inside of us. And it causes pain, and it causes confusion, and it causes us to feel disconnected. But then we don't move into the heart to actually process it and help heal it. Again, we go up into the head. And we want to talk about it. And we want to understand it. And we tell our friends about it. Right? I say this all the time. And then we go to coffee. And we gather a little team about it. And we tell each other how, my partner does that too. Oh, that my mom did that too. And there's a moment of hanging out in I'm not the only one. But if we stay there, do you understand eventually you're just repeating the pain, right? So spiritual work is about not repeating the pain. It's about learning a new language, a new way, and actually moving to the other side of it so you can become free. Otherwise, it's pointless. Otherwise, we're just clanging cymbals and making noise. I was telling someone the other day that, and this happens here, but it happens in all New Thought churches, we learn the language just enough to make us dangerous, but not helpful. Do you get the difference of that? We learn the right things to say. Oh, well, bless their heart. That is such a covert way to go right into your bitching. We've got and really, we're nice people. We're nice people, so we found really nice ways to package up the arrows we send. We got to be really conscious. This is the harder work. It's the more subtle work. The path gets narrower. And this is why it gets narrower. There comes a gate that you have to walk through where you finally recognize and decide every single one is your reflection for healing work. Now, you have two options. Either it's in me, or I'm the light that's here to help transform it. That's how I think about it. It might all be in me, but I'm still in a little denial, so I've sliced it into two. One, either I can go, okay, well, it's here, and I see that, and that's mine to heal and to accept and to love. And, or, wow, and no, actually, this is true. This is true. I hear that. This is true. And there are times when you've come a longer way and you look at someone who's in a pain body or in something and you genuinely do feel compassion. And they've come into your light because you can be a blessing. You can fully be a blessing to them. All of this happens here. It happens from the heart, not the mind. The mind is the tool that the ego uses to keep you stuck. The Way of Mastery, the book we're studying on Wednesday night, says, the way of the heart is not the way of the intellect. For indeed, that aspect of the mind was never designed to be your master. It was designed to be a humble and, if you will pardon the expression, very stupid servant of the awakened heart. Isn't that fascinating? The mind is designed to be a very humble and stupid servant of the heart. The mind, everything got flipped over in the world. It got flipped over. The ego, very smart ego, fear, I like using the word fear better. Fear knew that if it could overtake the mind and build it really big and scary, that we'd start believing that and get seduced there. And as long as you're lifted up into the mind, you're disconnected from this. Are you following me on this? It's very, very important. It's very important because you think way too much. I think way too much. We think way too much. And the next thought may be, well, if I didn't think, what would I do? Oh, take some time to discover. Take some time to be nothing. That's what you need. We need to just keep turning the mind off and dropping down into our heart. I've had two experiences with the heart. Actually, three. One was surgery, but that was on the physical heart. But a long time ago, I was doing breath work. And if you've not done breath work is a very profound process, and it really heals the body. And it can also cause you to have spiritual journeys and spiritual experiences. It's absolutely profound. Well, one of mine was, I may have told this here before, but I'll tell again, was I went poof, and I was on this spiritual journey, and inside of me, the story unfolded like a movie, and what had happened was I was taken to a river where Jesus was, and I was asked to go in the river and stand there with him, and in the imagery, he reached into my heart, and he took out my human heart, and he said, this is the wrong heart to be using. This is not built to heal. It's for your body. And if you burden it with stress and strife, and if things get broken, this is what will carry the burden and eventually become unhealthier and unhealthier. And then what in the imagery was put in me was, he reached into himself and took his heart and put it in me and said, this is the Christ heart. And I literally feel like I was encoded with the Christ heart, which was always there. You have it now. but more of an awakening of the Christ heart. And I was told, this is the heart that heals. This is the heart that will never be depleted. This is the heart that you must keep turning to and ask to help you awaken and transform and forgive. You of yourself can't do it, and every time you try, your human heart will be burdened. So I went through this process. And it was beautiful. It was absolutely stunning. I told everyone, I got a Christ heart. And they all thought I was weird, but I'm a minister, so I could get away with it. Then I was out in LA, and I was walking my dog. And we were just walking around the neighborhood, and two women walked by. And the one was kind of lecturing the other as they're walking by. And just as they passed me, the only words I hear are, I can't carry your burdens on my heart. That's totally what she said. And I got about 4 steps and I went, thank you. And it was such an amazing moment of like the whole universe is talking to you. Another way to think about it, it's so important. You have a Christ heart, but if you don't actively use it and welcome it and ask it, it will stay in the background. Ultimately, it's going to win, but it's not going to come in and take over. You have to, at this point of your evolution, invite it, turn to it. And then I was in Costa Rica in May, and we were doing some process stuff, and I was in another experience, and one of the things they were talking about was one of the things that can happen is you can get a new heart. And I sort of like, well, I have a new one. I hooked up with Jesus. That's cool. Well, I had a whole other experience where I was given like this light heart. So, dude, I'm like jacked up on heart stuff. You can like trust that. And it was another amazing experience, just a visual, an experience that the mind created to use to help me understand that there is so much more possible through the heart. When you're using the light heart, when you're using the Christ heart. Yes? Moving on in the way of mastery, it says, the heart is that which feels all things, trusts all things, and allows all things. The heart is that which is beyond space and time, and is that spark of light in the mind of God, which is called Christ. Only in that will you find the peace that you seek. So only in the journey from here to here and landing here 100 times in a day, if you have to, is where you're going to begin experiencing peace. This is the center of your body, the center of your being. This is the center of your spirit, and this is where the power lies. Absolutely beautiful. There once was an angry old man. He was very lonely. And people were afraid of him. And he lived in a small village. And they were so afraid of him that when he'd walk down the street, they'd go to the other side of the street just to get around him. And the more and more, and he would just grumble and moan and was so filled with anger. And everyone in the village knew him as the angry man. And everyone talked about him, and everybody avoided him. So the anger and the upset closed him down more and more, isolated him more and more and more and more. And then one morning he woke up, and he was so tired of being tired, and he was so done with being lonely, that he had one little thought inside himself. He said, I'm going to be happy. And he let the happiness begin taking over his heart. And he started dancing. And he was hard at the beginning. And then, here it comes, he was healed. All right, we'll go to the next one. They'll just keep repeating and they'll keep watching. The story goes that he chose to be happy, and 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 he chose to be happy. And eventually his energy began to change, and his world began to change. And as the story goes, he traveled from village to village as a healer, as someone who people revered and thought he must be a special Christed being. And all he did was one thing. He chose to practice being happy. Doesn't that piss you off? That's just ridiculous. Tell me to be happy when the world is like that. Tell me to be happy with all this division and hatred. Tell me to be happy when you move that statue from here to the other side. The ego will fight all day long to tell you what's wrong. The ego will fight all day long and capture you nonstop on why things are changing and it's wrong. All around you. All around you. And it will point all day long at what's wrong with your bank account, what's wrong with your body, what's wrong with that relationship, what's wrong with this. There's more to count that's wrong in a whole day. You could sit there in your room counting what's wrong nonstop, and you'd consume every hour and still have more to bitch about before the day ended. It's true. It's true. And so the ego screams in you, how dare I be happy? And that doesn't quite make sense to you. You can challenge that one a little bit. So then you know what the ego says next? It's even better. It says, well, when this gets done, then I'll be happy. That's the big seduction. When this happens, when the body is this way, when the work is this way, when this shifts, when this changes, when this gets better, then I'll be happy. Welcome to the biggest lie. Welcome to the biggest lie in your life. How long have we been waiting for someone else to get it, for something to change, and then we're going to be happy and smile more? You guys, I hate to tell you this, but your life's going to be over before you get it. Now, today, the best healing of the heart chakra, the best healing of your heart, the best healing that you could ask for, just choose to be happy in the midst of, even if it's a moment at a time. I just choose to be happy here. Now, this is what happens to you. I think you get it, but let me break it down for a minute. You choose to be happy. You shift a little bit. Your vibration, you're a vibrational being, begins to shift a little bit, begins to vibrate a little bit higher. It begins to rise up out of the lower vibrations. You get happier and happier and happier. You start to vibe higher and higher and higher. You are the creator of your world, drawing unto yourself who you are and what you see, and that vibration will draw more and more fun things. You will rise up and suddenly you'll be dancing down the street. You'll rise up and suddenly things will begin to be solved. The problems that you were obsessed with, that you knew had to be solved before you become happy, suddenly are disappearing. And you see something wrong, you know what, I'm going to leave that alone today. I'm just going to be happy. Blasphemy! It feels crazy. And trust me, I can meet you right there because I can fix your problems better than you can. I guarantee you. I have so many opinions. I do, and if you want to hear them, man, come on. But here's the problem with that. If you want to give me your opinions, I'm really not interested. Isn't that unfair? I'm not interested. I'm not interested because all we're doing is looping. So I've got to turn that around to me and say, what if I weren't interested in my opinions? What if I was disinterested, is that right? Disinterested? For as disinterested as I am in your opinions, what if I were that disinterested in my own? That sounds like a winning equation. That's a better idea. That's the invitation. That's where the heart heals. And this is what we're talking about today. This heart, your Christ heart, is transcendent. It's powerful. It's perfect. It will never be tarnished. It will never be broken. It will never hold a grudge. But you've got to get inside that Christ heart. You have to keep relocating yourself. And your Christ heart will lead you It will do healing work. It will mend a broken relationship. It will help make things flow better. It will do the work. That's the good news. I'm not just saying sit in your Christ heart and just watch the problems keep going. I'm saying sit in your Christ heart and watch the problems begin to dissolve if they're meant to disappear, or your mind changes about them and then it doesn't matter. But either way, you win. You win. Take a breath. Take a breath. Everyone take a breath. All right. Let's move into prayer. Let's do that. Charles, would you mind playing? I'm sorry, I have Linda who's going to play the bowls, and we're going to pass on those today. But come on the first Wednesday of the month, and she'll be here next Sunday for sure. I just have to do this. Do you have amazing grace in your fingers? Thank you. Take a breath. There is an amazing grace that the heart has for you. And the amazing thing about the grace is that it will take care of the problem. Imagine floating down your attention into your chest. And imagine backing up and imagine a big, beautiful Valentine heart appearing. And across it says the Christ heart, the heart that Jesus used, the heart that every great healer uses, the heart that can never be depleted, the heart that can never be broken. This is the heart that is awakened this day. And from it flows a grace beyond understanding. And this grace will absolutely heal, reveal, dissolve, transform. It knows what to do and it knows where to go. It knows. Take a breath. Let's sing this together. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. And in this moment, we are found because we're in the heart where we always have been. In this moment, we see anew because we're not looking with our human eyes. We're letting our heart lead. And I ask the Holy Spirit in this moment to please turn down the volume of the stupid mind. Take back the control keys. Put it back in its rightful place of being a servant to the heart. I give thanks for the healing that takes place in this moment as grace is awakened. I give thanks for all that is just flowing down the river because today we let it go and we let God. And I give thanks for this Christ heart that is eternal. It is forever who and what we are. And it is awakened and shining brightly within us. Take a deep breath. Say yes. Say yes. Say yes. And I give thanks for the fulfillment of this prayer. It is done, and so it is. Amen. Amen. Love that improv.